Good evening, everyone. I would request all participants to switch off their mic and camera. All the participants are requested to be patient with technical glitches. Also, make sure of better connectivity strength at your end. Any doubts and queries should be posted in chat box. Our speaker will make sure of addressing most of the queries. Please do not click on present now or end call icon. Good evening, everyone. I, Ms. Rima Quadras, welcome you all again on behalf of the principal, our CEO, and the management. Welcome to the Faculty Development Program on Yoga and Well-being. After listening to the benefits of yoga and how it can impact our mind, body, and soul, and then learning of how we can create mental health awareness amongst our students, we come to another aspect of our course, values and ethics. Like Medha ma'am yesterday focused on how we can create a goal setting theory for our students. I would like to tell you Dalai Lama's quote, which states that the fundamental problem, I believe, is that at every level we are giving too much attention to the external material aspect of life while neglecting moral ethics and inner values. As we all know, at present age, ethics and value play an important place in all areas of life, especially in education, as education is the fundamental process of human life. Hence, this aspect has been included in the course of yoga and well-being. Now, I take this privilege to introduce our today's resource person, Ms. Swati Takkar. She is the BMS coordinator at Patkar Varde College. She has 18 years of experience in teaching and 5 years of industry experience in IT. Ma'am, we are pleased to have you in our midst and I would now request you to start with the session. Over to you, Swati ma'am.
Thank you, Rima madam. Good evening, everyone. Today I am going to discuss with you one of the units in our course of Yoga and Well-being, which is Values and Ethics. I said discuss because I know many of our faculties must be already teaching this topic to their students. So we are just going to discuss about what should be covered in our course of Yoga and Well-being under the unit of Values and Ethics. Now, before we begin with our session, I would like to discuss a few case studies with you. Kindly listen to me carefully. Anand is running an NGO to help street children. He receives government grant of 2 lakh rupees for a project to teach the out of school children who work at tea stalls, do wood polishing, etc. A year passes, but Anand managed to utilize only 50,000 rupees from the grant. Despite his best efforts, he couldn't convince so many poor children or their families to join his NGO's program. As per the grant rules, Anand has to return all the unspent money back to the government by the end of March 31st. But his colleague Piyush suggests, see, if we honestly return rupees 1.5 lakh back, then the government officials will think we are amateur, ineffective NGOs, and they will substantially reduce our grant for next year. Or even worse, they will not give us any project next time. So, we should take the help of the CA, Mr. Chopra, to manipulate our account books and show majority of the grant was utilized for education. Many other NGOs do the same thing, so there is no problem. Nobody will raise any objection as long as we give 20% of the grant to SDM in charge of this project. Although it sounds unethical, but we won't use this money for personal needs. We will use it on street children only. Hence, our act is fully ethical and moral. Now, my question to you is, what should Anand do with the money? You can please post your answers in the chat box. What you have to type is, those who agree with Anand should return the money, they will be typing Anand should return the money. Those who agree with Anand should not return the money, they will be typing Anand should not return the money. I hope I'm audible. Okay, I got one answer from Shiki Patil madam. Anand should return the money. Yes. Okay, Sitaka madam, Anand should return the money. I think there
Rahul
is
sir.
someone presenting. Yeah.
Yeah, Rahul sir. Rahul sir, kindly end your presentation. Thank you. Yeah,
My
Swati ma'am, you
screen is
can
visible,
continue.
right? My screen
Yeah,
is
yeah.
visible, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Anand should return the money. Okay, Pooja madam is saying, I think he should return with an assurance that he will perform better if he will another opportunity to serve again. Yes. So you all are right. Okay. See, here in this particular case, there are some key points we should understand. Because others are also doing it is never the valid justification to commit an unethical or criminal act. Two wrongs don't make a right. Firstly, manipulating account books to keep the grant money. Second, bribing SDM to keep the grant money. Remember, the shelf life of lie and deception is very low, especially when manipulating the books of accounts. We had recently the case, of Satyam, that is the ex-chief Ramalinga Raju. So we know it better. Anand was unable to use 75% of the grant money. It implies that either he has not tried hard enough or the government has exaggerated the amount of money required to educate the out of school children, or it may be both. In any case, if Anand keeps the unspent grant, government will continue pumping more money. Other NGOs and SDM will keep amassing wealth. Therefore, Anand should return the unspent grant back to the government. I hope this case is clear to you. Shall we move on to another case? Now, all of you, please listen to me again carefully. Okay? And I want answers from all the participants. Anirudh is a brilliant maths teacher in a private English medium school in Ahmedabad and gets yearly package of rupees 6 lakhs. Another school at Baroda offers him package of rupees 6.5 lakhs. He makes a verbal commitment to the Baroda school principal saying, sure, I'll join your school from next month. But when Anirudh submits his resignation to Ahmedabad school, its principal, Mr. Medha, requests him to stay and offers new package of rupees 6.8 lakhs. Now my question is, should Anirudh take back his resignation? Now you can post your answers in the chat box. You can just say Anirudh should stay back, or you can say Anirudh should join Baroda school, according to what you feel appropriate. Okay, I have got one answer. Girish sir is saying stay back. Aditya sir is saying stay back. Monali Patil madam, stay back. Yes, yes, stay back. Anupama madam, Nilima madam. Nilima madam has a view. Anirudh should join Baroda or else he should not have committed before. Okay. Kajal Singh should stay back. Vinaya madam should stay back. Chi madam should join Baroda school. Uma madam, Anirudh should join as he has committed. Okay, Amol sir. Okay, fine. So there are majority of people saying he should join Baroda school. Yes. Now let's understand this particular case. See, from ethical perspective, even verbal acceptance is equal to a contract, and contract must be honored. Even if Mr. Mehta's counter offer is higher, Anirudh has a moral obligation to remain consistent with his original intention of joining the Baroda school. So he should join the Baroda school. Okay. Now we'll move on to the next case. Again, listen to me carefully. Mr. Chopra runs a company that offers private security guards, CCTV, burglary alarm, and other security devices. DCP Dev learns that every time after a theft or robbery takes place, Police Inspector Jay advises the victim and bystanders to install security devices from Mr. Chopra's company to make their home and shops secure from criminals. Jay even tells them, when you go to Mr. Chopra's office, tell him, I have sent you, he'll give you a special discount. Dave confronts Jay about this matter. Now, Jay justifies his action by saying, yes, I take money for Mr. Chopra to endorse his security products for homes and offices. I'm not doing anything unethical because I use this money to pay my informers and keep a check on criminal elements. I don't spend this money on myself or my family. Even for that matter, municipal buses and railway wagons have advertisements. Then why is an endorsement by a city official unethical or illegal? Besides, Mr. Chopra's security devices are very effective at preventing burglary. Now my question to you is, should they permit Jay to continue this endorsement activity? Just type yes or no. Okay, Nilima madam has said no. Nilima madam, no. No, Shruti madam. Okay, okay. No. No. Fine. Now let's see certain key points inside this case. First of all, advertisement on bus or railway wagon is not same as a public official promoting a brand, because those bus or railway ads don't interfere with the vehicle's primary function of transporting persons from one place to another. But when a public official promotes a brand, he is spending part of his office time and energy for private gain rather than serving the citizen. Now, if Dave permits jail, then other staff members will also start similar marketing. Thus, part of the office time will get diverted to selling products rather than solving crime. It might even lead to internal rivalries about who is earning more commissions. Citizens may feel informal pressure to buy such products, fearing their fine or matter will not be cleared by the public officials otherwise. Endorsements of commercial products by public officials can easily result in an unethical situation. That means sharing financial gain through bribes, kickbacks, or post employment opportunities for government officials. In short, it is going to open a Pandora's box. Therefore, they should order Jay to stop this activity at once. Okay. Now, one more last case. I know I will not bore you much. Okay. So, just listen to this one. Rahul, the bank employee, approaches bank manager Ashish and says following: my child is suffering from blood cancer. I don't have health insurance policy and my salary is insufficient to meet these medical expenses. But over the years, I have been collecting autographed bats and balls of various cricketers. I seek your permission to hold a charity auction in the office. I'll also send flyers to clients of our bank. Everyone is welcome to bid for these bats and balls so I can raise money for the medical treatment of my child. Three other bank employees, Vijay Sharma, Siddharth Pal, and Ranjit, overheard this conversation. They also inform Ashish, indeed, Rahul's financial situation is very bad and his child will die if the treatment is not done on time. Therefore, permission should be given to hold this charity auction. Now, my question to you is, should Ashish give permission or not? Type yes or no in the chat box. I hope everyone has understood the case, right? Okay, Nima madam is saying yes, but not on bank working day. Compassionate grounds. Okay, anyone else? No one else? Well, the answer for this one is no. I'll tell you the reason why. See, it may so happen that some of the members may informally feel pressured to give money, especially Rahul's juniors and subordinates. It might create a feeling of alienation between employees who bid and those who don't. Next time, another employee will try to do the same, maybe with a trivial reason. Example, I am willing to auction t-shirts autographed by film stars to repay the last EMI of my home loan. Allow me to hold auction in the office. And if Ashish says no at that time, it might create an impression Ashish is biased towards certain employees and the staff morale goes down. Therefore, it is best to keep auctions and other money-raising activities out of the workplace, irrespective of their noble aims. So, what do these case studies indicate? Don't they say ethical and moral obligation? Yes or no? Now, before we actually study what ethics is about or what values are about, a few more examples we'll discuss wherein you will be telling me whether they are ethical or unethical. Now, what you have to do is you have to just type in the box ethical or the word unethical. I'll be announcing one statement, I'll be reading out one statement, and that particular statement you are going to just say whether it is ethical or unethical. lying to your spouse about how much money you spent. Oh, unethical, unethical. Yes, it's a unethical state. Next one. Telling to your parents about where you were for the evening. Yes, yes. Thank you. Ethical. Yes. Next. Stealing money from the petty cash drawer at work. Yes. Unethical. Yes. Unethical. Lying on your resume in order to get a job. Yes. So lots of people saying unethical. Yes, it's unethical. Next. Talking about a friend behind his back. Yes. Many people saying unethical. Not taking credit for work you did not do. Yes, many people saying ethical. Yeah, very good. Next, using your position of power at work to sexually harass someone. Yes, many people saying unethical. Yes. Selling a house and disclosing known defects to the buyers. Selling a house and disclosing known defects to the buyers. Yes. It's, yeah, many people saying ethical, and the answer is ethical because you can disclose, you should disclose the known facts or known defects which are there about your house. Okay. So there you are. Now, these are just some of the many different examples of ethical or unethical behavior that could occur. Now, can we proceed with our session? I hope you must have understood by this time what I mean to say. As the proverb goes, before becoming anything, be a human. For becoming a human, any person should have certain values and ethics. And these are the kind of things you actually need not work for it. You can just inculcate them. Okay. So what are values? Can any one of you tell me? You can please post your answers in the chat box. Yes. Okay, norms that govern right from wrong. Yes, madam. Yes. So value, yeah, Rima madam is saying beliefs. Value literally means something that has price, something precious, dear and worthwhile. Hence, something one is ready to suffer and sacrifice for. If necessary, one is ready to die for it. Generally, the term value has been taken to mean moral ideas, general conceptions, or orientations towards the world, or sometimes simply interests, attitudes, preferences, needs, sentiments, and dispositions. But sociologists use this term in a more precise sense They say the generalized end which has the connotations of rightness, goodness, or inherent desirability. That is how they describe values. Values have major influence on a person's behavior and attitude and serve as broad guidelines in all situations. Values describe the personal qualities we choose to embody to guide our actions, the sort of person we want to be, the manner in which we treat ourselves and others, and our interaction with the world around us. They provide the general guidelines for conduct. So, what are examples of values? Now, values are standards or ideals with which we evaluate actions, people, things, or situations. Honesty, justice, peace, generosity, and many more are examples of values that many people endorse. Value specifies a relationship between a person and a goal. It is relational in the sense that what one person values may not be what the other person values, even in the same situation. See, for example, there is a financial transaction manipulation going on in an organization by a superior authority. There are two employees who know about it. One employee is a person who values honesty more, and the other employee is a person who values loyalty. Now, you tell me how these two employees are going to behave. Now, what you have to do is you have to just say, or you have to type in the chat box, honest person will inform about the wrong things, and loyal person will remain silent. Second statement, honest person will remain silent. Loyal person will inform about wrong things. Now, whichever you feel appropriate, you are going to type in the chat box. I repeat the statements again. Honest person will inform about the wrong things. Loyal person will remain silent. Second statement, honest person will remain silent and loyal person will inform about wrong things. Yes? Can anyone?
Swati ma'am,
Yes.
can I just request you to, end the presentation and start it again?
Acha, it's not visible.
It is visible, but for some people it is not. So,
I'll
yeah,
stop sharing and again I'll share.
again you share.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay, ma'am. Is it visible now?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, Rima
Yes,
madam?
yes, yes, ma'am. Now it is perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Yes, Nirima madam, uh, you were saying something? . It's visible? Yeah, I'll repeat. See, I was taking the example, there is a financial transaction manipulation going on in an organization by a superior authority. There are two employees who know about it. Now, one of the employees is a person who values honesty more, and the other employee is a person who values loyalty more. Now, you tell me how these two employees are going to behave. That was what my question was. And the answer, I am telling you two statements. That is, the honest person will inform about the wrong things and loyal person will remain silent. Second statement is honest person will remain silent and loyal person will inform about wrong things. Now, whatever you feel appropriate, you type in the chat box. Or you can unmute and you can say. Yes, Nilima madam has said honest person will inform and loyal person will remain silent. Nilima madam also same. Yes, Aditya sir also same. Yes, Shweta Patil madam, yes. Yes. Reba madam also said first statement, yes. You all are right. See, a person who values honesty might blow the whistle on financial wrongdoing by a superior, whereas another person who values loyalty may remain silent. This is basically an example of values conflict. The honest person may believe there are limits to loyalty, and keeping quiet about a wrongful act out of loyalty might harm others. The loyal person may believe in the importance of keeping one's confidence, even if it might harm others. Because of the trusting relationship, it is better to remain silent. So, remember, some values stand up well over the test of time. They are always good or rightful behavior. Honesty and kindness are two such examples. It's difficult to imagine having a satisfying relationship without them because they build trust and relationships. There are always, of course, exceptions, but they are very rare. Let's take another example. If a criminal out to do harm to your friend knocks on the door and asks whether you have seen the friend, what would be your answer? You're probably not going to say yes and rationalize it out of a sense of honesty. Here, the greater good, so to speak, is to protect your friend from harm. So, it changes accordingly. This is what I wanted to say. I believe basically what is missing in today's society is the commitment to core ethical values that all people should strive to achieve, such as honesty, kindness, compassion, respect, and personal responsibility. These are the values to be admired and illustrative of a person's integrity. Therefore, many schools have started taking this as a course for their students in the name of value education. The teachers are given a handbook on value education, which helps them how to inculcate value-based learning in the children. And it is really appreciable for our college to introduce this course of yoga and well-being for our students. It is really going to help our students. The effects of which may not be seen immediately, but surely in the long run, this will benefit the student community. Value education is education in the sense that it is education for becoming. It is concerned with the development of the total personality of the individual, intellectual, social, emotional, aesthetic, moral, and spiritual. The very purpose and main function of education is the development of an all-round and well-balanced personality of the students. And also to develop all dimensions of the human intellect so that our students can help make our nation more democratic, cohesive, socially responsible, culturally rich, an intellectually competitive nation. But what happens is, nowadays, more emphasis is unduly laid on knowledge based and information oriented education, which takes care of only the intellectual development of the child. Consequently, the other aspect of their personality, like physical, emotional, social, and spiritual, are not properly developed in providing for the growth of attitudes, habits, values, skills, and interests among the students. It is here that we talk in terms of value education. You see, today there is deterioration of values in the society. The values have been neglected not only at the social level, but at the national level also. Basically, there are several factors with the modern higher education which are making people literate or educated, undoubtedly, but on the other hand, responsible for forgetting the basics or values of a good human being or a responsible citizen of the society. Firstly, there is lack of development of sound moral vision among human beings, along with the scientific and technological development. You'll see that wealth is worshipped as God, pride has become greed, selfishness is entrenched in the intellect, the ego is flaunted, compassion has dried up, hypocrisy has become the hallmark of life, and love and affection has become lustful afflictions. The modern youth is receiving education, but they are losing their idealism and living in spiritual vacuum. Moral values have no respect now. Man fails to distinguish basically between the right, wrong, good, and evil. Highest respect has been placed on wealth and power. Religion has now become a private affair, and stress is being laid on secularization of social relationships. You will see human relations are also becoming impersonal and secondary. Now, I would just, it would be wrong to say, or, that is thankful to this corona pandemic because at least we are now with our families. So it's been a long time. We should get back to work, I know. But tend to, at least, wherein we were running behind everything, we at least got some time to spend with our family, which is very much essential. Loss of leadership among the teachers is another manifestation of the deterioration of values in the modern society. Again, lack of academic syllabus related to human values and professional ethics. The students' focus has been changed from enhancing hidden talents or values to just make them eligible to earn well or professionally equipped. Nowadays, students are educated, but they are not aware of the ways of its practical application. Consequently, you see that students are unemployed and depressed, and as the present education scenario is making them job seeker and not job maker. But you will find slowly this scenario is also changing. There are online courses like Swayam or soft skill trainings being imparted in educational institutions. All this is helping out. One more part I would like to stress on is about the lack of extra co-curricular activities based on human values and professional ethics. See, the curricular and extracurricular activities play a very important role in the student's life. But now the scope of extracurricular activities is being limited only to sports, literary competitions, quizzes, few games, dance or musical events only. Morning meetings, prayers, literary works, discussions over social problems, and other cultural activities have been disappeared. That's the reason you will find that many institutions are taking initiatives to start ISR activities to inculcate social and moral responsibility among students, and our college is one amongst them. Thus, there is a great need for imparting value based education in each stage of education. Now, teachers who will be teaching this particular part to the students can explore more into this aspect. I know you all are experts, okay, considering how the students are receptive, how much interest they have in this topic. Now, I have just covered very few points. There is a vast to explore in this area. So, according to your receptive audience, you can put in more inputs inside this and explain the syllabus to the students. So now, shall we move on to the next one? I hope you people are following what I'm saying. If you're following, you can just type yes in the chat box. Because this online is making very much disconnected. You know, we are habituated to talk offline with a live audience. Okay, yes, okay. Now we will move on to the next, and that is about workplace values. Now, what is meant by workplace values? People are aware about it. Workplace values set the tone for a company's culture, and they identify what an organization as a whole cares about. It is important that the employees' values align with this. When this happens, people understand one another, everyone do the right things for the right reasons, and this common purpose and understanding helps people build great working relationships. Alignment of values helps the organization as a whole to achieve its core mission. When values are out of alignment, people work towards different goals with different intentions, which leads to different outcomes. This can basically damage work relationships, affect the productivity, job satisfaction, and creative potential. See, the most important thing that one needs to do when interviewing someone is understand his or her workplace values. After all, people can be trained to cover skill gaps and gain experience. However, it is hard to get people change their values and they remain problem workers until they do. So, what are the examples of workplace values? Here is a list of it. I've covered some of the workplace values. You can see it on the screen. Being accountable, making a difference, focusing on detail, delivering quality, being completely honest, keeping promises, being reliable, being positive, meeting deadlines, helping others, being a great team member, respecting company policy, rules, respecting others, showing tolerance. Now, I know that we all have been implementing all these, so that's why I told you that I'm not going to teach you, I'm going to discuss with you all. See, every organization has its unique style of working, which often contributes to its culture. The beliefs, ideologies, principles, and values of an organization form its culture. The culture of the workplace controls the way employees behave amongst themselves as well as with the people outside the organization. The culture decides the way employees interact at their workplace. A healthy work culture encourages the employee and it keeps the employee motivated and loyal towards the management. The organization culture brings all the employees on a common platform. The employees must be treated equally and no one should feel neglected or left out at the workplace. Similarly, it is also essential for the employees to adjust well in the organization culture for them to deliver their level best. Thus, you can say that work culture promotes healthy relationship amongst the employees by inculcating these values at the workplace. Okay, so now we move on to the next. What is meant by morals, or what are morals? Can you tell me? Please post your answers in the chat box. What are morals? Being honest, lessons learned through experiences, Rima Madam is saying, yes. Trustworthy, Vinaya Madam. Honest and trustworthy, Vinaya Madam is saying. Okay. Morals are how we judge others. Morals have greater social element to values and tend to have a very broad acceptance. Morals are far more about good and bad than other values. You know, majority of the time we judge others more strongly on morals than values. Morality can be described as a core set of values and beliefs that act as a guide when formulating the courses of action. So, what is morality? Are there any universal moral values? Scholars have debated these questions for millennia. But now, thanks to science, we have the answers. So, converging lines of evidence from the game theory, ethology, psychology, anthropology suggest that morality is a collection of tools for promoting cooperation. Morality is always and everywhere a cooperative phenomenon. And as predicted by this theory, there are some moral rules which appear to be universal across cultures. I have listed down a few you would be seeing on the screen right now. Love your family, help your group, return favors, be brave, defer to authority, be fair, respect others' property. And so there is a common core of universal moral principles. And everyone agrees that cooperating, promoting the common good is the right thing to do. Appreciating this fundamental fact about human nature helps us promote mutual understanding between the people of different cultures. And so it makes the world a better place to live in. Positive moral values are important because they allow you to have an overall feeling of peace and joy. Moral values can give meaning and purpose to your life. So you're able to direct your behavior towards beneficial and fulfilling activities. You know, when you live your life according to moral values that are based on honesty, compassion, courage, modesty, forgiveness, then you can also form positive bonds with other people. See, if you incorporate the moral value of honesty in your life, it makes you trustworthy. You will have a clear conscience because you can respect yourself. The people that come to you or the people you come in contact with will be able to count on you to be fair and sincere. Your integrity will allow you to advance in both your personal and professional life. There will be more opportunities for you to fully experience life when you are an honest person. In addition to honesty, if you incorporate the moral value of compassion to your life, then it will allow you to have sympathy for the misfortunes of other people. It also motivates you to want to give them any type of assistance that you can. Compassion results in your feelings of mercy towards other people. When you have compassion as a moral value, people are more likely to put their trust in you because you will be non-judgmental of their circumstances. Then comes the we talk about the moral value of courage, which gives you determination to face anything that impacts your progress through life. You will also be able to overcome any obstacles because you won't let fear hold you back. Others also will feel confident relying on you for encouragement because you find solution to whatever problems arise in your life. So when courage is one of your moral values, you can bravely face the world. Remember, in life, it is essential to your survival to have modesty, especially in respect to age. Because modesty allows you to realize what your limits are. It helps you to stay focused and keeps you from becoming overconfident and reckless. People will feel comfortable around you because you're humble and you don't try to belittle them. Lastly, it is also important to incorporate the moral value of forgiveness in your life. Forgiveness allows you to move past hurtful or damaging situations. It allows you to abandon feelings of anger or resentment against others or yourself. You can be emotionally healthy when you practice forgiveness because it keeps you from holding on to pain and resentment. So, to conclude, moral values are extremely important for your overall well being. Moral values provide a structure for your life. These attributes will allow you to live your life in a way that reduces your stress levels. You will also have peace and harmony in your life. See, you will be uh, proud of your life, how you're living your life, that will make you proud by inculcating these moral values. The bonds that you form with others will also be more fulfilling because you live your life according to honesty, compassion, courage, modesty, and forgiveness. And as we all are into a noble profession of teaching, we should inculcate these morals in ourselves so that we can give the best to our students. Okay, so moving on further, what is meant by ethics? How is ethics different from morality? See, traditionally, ethics is referred to the philosophical study of morality, the latter being a more or less systematic set of beliefs, usually held in common group, about how people should live. Ethics is also referred to particular philosophy of morality. Later, the right to particular, or you can say narrower moral codes or value systems. Ethics and morality are now used almost interchangeably in many contexts. But the name of the study remains ethics. So in terms to say, ethics of moral principles. They affect how people make decisions and lead their lives. Ethics is concerned with what is good for individuals and society and is also described as moral philosophy. The term is derived from the Greek word ethos, which means custom, habit, character, or disposition. Ethics covers the following dilemmas: how to live a good life, our rights and responsibilities, the language of right and wrong, moral decisions, what is good and bad. Our concepts of ethics have been derived from religions, philosophies, and cultures. They infuse debates on topics like emotion, human rights, and profession. At times in the past, some people thought that ethical problems could be solved in one of two ways: by discovering what God wanted people to do, or by thinking rigorously about moral principles and problems. And if a person did this properly, they would lead to the right conclusion. But now, even philosophers are less sure that it's possible to devise a satisfactory and complete theory of ethics, at least not one that leads to conclusions. Modern thinkers often teach that ethics leads people not to conclusions but to decisions. In this view, the role of ethics is limited to clarifying what's at stake in particular ethical problems. Philosophy can help identify the range of ethical methods, conversations, and value systems that can be applied to a particular problem. But after these things have been made clear, each person must make their own moral decision as to what to do and then react appropriately to the consequences. And this is what we did in the case studies when we were referring to. Each person may have a different viewpoint, but then what is ethical, what is not, what is unethical? So ethics is important because it helps in satisfying basic human needs. Being fair, honest, and ethical is one of the basic human needs. Every employee desires to be such himself and to work for an organization that is fair and ethical in its practices. Ethics is basically a system of principles that helps us to tell right from wrong or good from bad. Ethics actually gives us a real and practical guidance to our lives. It is all about the choices we make. And we constantly face choices that affect the quality of our lives. So the study of ethics should also lead one to develop skills in articulating your own values, to provide others with reasons for your actions, and give you the means of questioning the values of others. Ethics is important to every society as it plays a critical role in shaping the individual behaviors within a society, much in the way as law does. But again, you can say ethics and law has got a bifurcation because ethics, are principles. Law can be enforced. There is punishment if you violate a law. But in ethics, you cannot have a punishment. If you violate ethics, you will be socially left alone. Legislating or mandating all behavior is impossible. So, we invent ethical and moral norms to cover the gray areas. Ethics and morality are always relevant and useful in the world, irrespective of time. The principles of ethics are based on the eternal laws of human existence, without which no human relationship can sustain. Now, some examples of laws of ethics and morality, you can say, can be truthfulness, honesty and integrity, faithfulness, love and compassion, kindness, charity, courage, justice. I'll share one incident with you. A burglar was trying to steal from a safe by opening the lock. Just then he saw a sticker on the safe proclaiming, "The safe is open, just move this knob." The thief accordingly moved the knob, but it set off a loud alarm. Immediately the police arrived and arrested the burglar. As he was being taken away, he said, weeping, "I have now lost all faith in humanity." So these laws are so universal that even the criminals and immoral people expect these laws to be used with them. See, we all expect people to be ethical with us. We want our beloved and our spouse to be faithful to us. We want our friends and relatives to speak truth with us. We want justice in the world. We expect kindness from others when we are wrong. However, many people still don't follow the ethical path because they can't resist the instantaneous gratification that comes by following unethical and immoral ways like lying, cheating, corruption, crime. However, remember, all the immoral activities lead to permanent loss of character and honor and cause immense suffering in life, just as we see the fast foods and intoxicants spoil the health forever. You must be ethical and moral at all point of time since these principles are eternal which can never become outdated. Now, as we have seen all this, let us also look at a term called ethical dilemma. Now, these ethical dilemmas are very interesting, and this we also experience many of the times in our day-to-day lives. So, what is an ethical dilemma? It is a term for a situation in which a person faces an ethically problematic situation and is not sure what he or she ought to do. Frequently, ethical dilemmas are fundamentally clash of values. Now, we may experience this as a sense of frustration trying to figure out what the right thing to do because any available course of action violates some value that we are dedicated to. Now, I'll tell you an example. Let's say you're taking a class with a good friend and sitting next to him one day during a quiz, and you discover that he is copying answers from a third student. Now you're forced into an ethical decision embodied by two important values common to your society. What can they be? Can any one of you post the answers in the chat box? I hope the audience is not sleeping. Yes. Now here, which two values will be clashing? I hope you have understood what I said. Are you people listening? Or bored? I think people are bored. Nobody's answering. Oh, Prabhu Madam has answered. I think Prabhu Madam, Rima Madam, Sheetal Madam. Yes, Rima Madam is saying helping a friend. Yes. Prabhu Madam is saying honesty and loyal to friend. Yes. Yes. So these are the two values which are clashing. That is honesty and loyalty. Now here, you're going to act dishonestly and preserve your friend's secret, or do you act disloyal and turn them in for academic fraud? No. Remember that here, we will always, this will be in a dilemma. Now, what to do? Help out the friend. Okay. But then, honesty is at stake. So these are ethical dilemmas. Often we make our choice based on which value we prize more highly. One more example I can tell you. You are offered a scholarship to attend a faraway college, but that would mean leaving your family to whom you are very close. Now here, which values are clashing? Should I repeat? Okay, Rima Madam is saying taking care of loved ones. So here the values which are clashing are success, future achievements or excitement versus family, love or safety. Yes, so we are in an ethical dilemma. Okay, take one more. You're the official supervisor for Ashwin. You find out that Ashwin has been leaving work early and asking his co-workers to clock him out on time. You intend to fire Ashwin, but then you find out that he's been leaving early because he needs to pick up his child from daycare. Now here, which values will be clashing? S, compassion and duty. Here the values which are clashing are justice versus mercy. Because it is something he's picking up his child from daycare and that is why he's living on time. So see, these are dilemmas. See, you can make or you could probably make a compelling argument for either side of each of the above, and we can have a controversial debate also on this, but we have to proceed with our session and the time is running fast and yet to cover much. That's what makes ethical dilemmas so difficult or interesting if you're not directly involved. So let's move on to the next topic. And that is, okay, what does ethics cover? This we have seen. Now here is a small differentiation which I have given to you between ethics and values. Now you all can read this on the screen. I have already explained to you this. Okay, meanwhile I'll just sip in some water. Okay, now we move on to further major branches of ethics. See, philosophers today usually divide ethical theories into general subject areas such as meta-ethics, normative ethics, applied ethics, and descriptive ethics. Now, meta-ethics deals with the nature of moral judgment. In Greek, meta meaning beyond, and ethics meaning character or custom. Sorry. It looks at the origins and meaning of ethical principles. Meta-ethics investigates where our ethical principles come from and what they mean. It explores the connection between values, reasons for action, and human motivation. Basically, it encourages us to think. See, for example, a meta-ethical question can be, what do I mean by saying stealing is wrong? What is goodness? How can we tell what is good from what is bad? What does the statement, sex before marriage is wrong, mean? Where do our ethical principles come from? Are we born with moral instincts or do they come from environment? So these are the examples of meta-ethical question. Basically making a person to think what it is. Then comes normative ethics. It is concerned with the content of moral judgments and criteria for what is right or wrong. It begins by asking what things are good and what things are bad. What kind of behavior is right or wrong? It decides how people ought to act, how moral choices are made, how rules apply. Now, how can normative ethics question can be framed? Is telling truth good? Is fighting wrong? See, the golden rule is a classic example of a normative principle. We should do to others what we want, what we would want others do to us. Now see, since I don't want my neighbor to steal my car, then it is wrong for me to steal his car. So see, these are the examples of normative questions. As meta-ethics talks about the nature of ethics and moral reasoning, normative ethics is interested in determining the content of our moral behavior. Normative ethical theories basically seek to provide action guides, procedures for answering the practical question, what should I do? Normative ethics is the study of ethical action. It is the branch of philosophical ethics that investigates the set of questions that arise when considering how one should act. Okay. Now let's go further to see applied ethics. Applied ethics looks at controversial topics like war, animal rights, and capital punishment. It attempts to deal with specific realms of human action and to craft criteria for discussing issues that might arise within those realms. This contemporary field of applied ethics arose in the late 1960s and somewhere in the early 70s. But today you will see it is one of the thriving part of the field of ethics. Numerous books and websites are devoted to topics such as business ethics, computer ethics, and engineering ethics. Even for that matter, Bioethics Center is an example of activities in the area of medical ethics. I'll tell you that it appeared in a part by means of an unexpected confluence of advances in medical technology and a growing patients' rights movement. Cases arose basically in which it was no longer clear whether keeping a terminally ill patient alive through medical devices was really preserving the person's life or prolonging the person's death. People of goodwill had sincere disagreements over what ought to be done, and ethical guidance was sought. With the establishment of the Hastings Center and Georgetown's Kennedy Institute of Ethics, the turn in applied ethics began as professional philosophers sought to address these concrete issues. But as these philosophers soon discovered, applied ethics involves more than straightforward application of ethical theory. If meta-ethics is a reflection upon the scope and limits of ethics itself, and if normative ethics seeks general theories that provide substantial action guides, applied ethics focuses on domain-specific areas like medicine, business, and engineering. Ethical analysis in these domains require a level of detail not immediately available to the general theorist. Now the next part is descriptive ethics. See, the category of descriptive ethics is very easy to understand, or is the easiest amongst this. It simply involves describing how people behave and or what sort of moral standards they claim to follow. Descriptive ethics incorporates research from the field of anthropology, psychology, sociology, and history as a part of the process of understanding what people do or have believed about moral norms. See, for example, a descriptive ethics question can be, or a statement basically I would say it could be, this movie has a pretty bad rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The car is red. The river is flowing smoothly. So these are the statements of descriptive ethics. Now, we will develop all these statements for an ethics of abortion. What can be the meta-ethical question for ethics of abortion, normative question for this, applied ethics question for this, and descriptive ethics question for this? See, if you are talking about ethics of abortion, the question of meta-ethics can be, is there a definitive answer to the question about the morality of taking human life? So this could be the meta-ethical question. On the other hand, now Normative ethics, how it will talk on ethics of abortion. Is it morally acceptable to take human life? Now, how applied ethics will imply it. When, if ever, is it morally acceptable to have an abortion? And coming to descriptive ethics, the ethics of abortion will say, what proportion of the population believe abortion is morally acceptable? So, see, at the heart of ethics is a concern about something or someone other than ourselves and our own desires and self-interest. I hope it is clear to you. Now, see, here let's not go deep into this aspect, as the students will start feeling as if it is a philosophy class. I mean, the students who learn philosophy, they can explore more into it. Same goes with the teachers. Those who really want to dwell deep into this, there is vast to explore. As there is a limit for our syllabus, you will limit this topic by just making them aware about these terms. Now, we will move on to the next part of it, considering the types of ethics. Now, which are the types of ethics? Now, here, there are many of them. I have just listed out the major ones. Okay, we have personal ethics, common ethics, professional ethics. There is religious ethics, social ethics, and again, you are having major branches of it. So let's not go deep into it, because what is important from a syllabus point of view, I'm just covering only that. So let's see what is personal ethics. Personal ethics is the code of ethical guidelines that guide you in your personal and professional life. They often develop from your core values and work ethic into actionable goals used in a variety of challenging situations. Your personal ethics can and likely will contain common ethical guidelines that other people share, but they will vary in their level of importance and how to maintain them. And remember, personal ethics can change, and these are chosen by an individual. So it will vary from individual to individual. For example, I can say, I believe racism is morally wrong. Now, this is my personal ethics. I am in favor of abortion. Now, someone else may say, or someone else's personal ethics may be, I am not in favor of abortion. Okay? So, this is how it is. And personal ethics is influenced by family, friends, culture, religion, education, and many other factors. And that is why it includes your personal values and moral qualities. Now, to get an idea of what your core values might be, you can consider your answers to the following questions. What kind of culture do you want to work in? What things, settings, or resources are necessary for you to do your best work? What qualities do you feel make strong, healthy relationships? What qualities do you admire most in your role models? What motivates you? What qualities do you wish to develop in yourself professionally and personally? What are your future goals? What qualities will it take to achieve them? So these are some of the things you have to consider your answers for these kind of questions. So some common personal ethics can include integrity, selflessness, honesty, loyalty, equality, and fairness. Empathy and respect, self-respect. Okay? So along with this, I would also like to tell you about, nowadays this is very much popular, personal ethics statement. A personal ethics statement is a written declaration of your closely held ethical principles. Now, these statements are developed for several reasons. you will see that many colleges are asking for written personal ethics statements from applicants to better understand the qualities and characteristics of prospective students. These statements can help students stand out from other applicants when their personal ethics align with that of the university or college. You will see that many colleges also make it as a requirement in the application process so that they can have a closer look at the behavior and motivations of the students. Similarly, you will see that some companies are also asking for personal ethics statements because you will see nowadays jobs are becoming very competitive. And this personal ethics statement can be a part of the process for any job. But it is most common for leadership positions. Companies frequently look to improve and shape the quality of leadership within they have, which results in asking candidates to detail their personal ethics and apply them to their work and leadership potential. Even companies also ask for personal ethics statements at performance reviews to deeply analyze employees' actions and how they implement the company's and their own ethics while on the job. You know, these statements can be very telling since they show whether an employee understands the ethical implications of their actions and are working towards better alignment with the company's values. There are many benefits to have a personal ethics statement both for your career and if you define your personal ethics statement in a well thought out manner, it will actually improve your performance in an interview. It helps you to understand your priorities, it helps you to make decisions easier, it helps you to improve in goal setting, and it also helps you to refine your leadership style. See, I'll tell you an example of a personal ethics statement. Okay, I'll just say, as a leader with 10 years of experience in the IT industry, my personal ethics developed from a need to keep teams focused and moving in the right direction. Every aspect of my leadership is defined by the core values of respect for others, leading by example, and putting the needs of others first. Through these values, I can lead effectively and ethically. So, this is the personal ethics statement given by an IT leader. So, you can also start making your own personal ethics statements. Okay. Now, just excuse me, there is a call I am getting. Just a moment, please. I'll call you later on. I'll call you later. Yeah, sorry. Now we move to the part of professional ethics. Professional ethics are principles that govern the behavior of a person or a group in a business environment. Like values, professional ethics provide rules on how a person should act towards other people and institutions in such an environment. They may be understood as professionally acknowledged measures of individual and business conduct, values, and guiding principles. Professional ethics is nothing but a code of conduct applicable to different professions as is set up by the expert members of such profession or professional organizations. See, for example, the Hippocratic Oath undertaken by medical students is one such example of professional ethics which is adhered even today. Some of the important components of professional ethics that professional organizations necessarily include in their code of conduct are integrity, honesty, transparency, time management, respectfulness towards the job, confidentiality, objectivity, etc. Now, if you don't adhere to these, it may harm your professional reputation. Now, what is common ethics. Now, this is the ethics that majority of the people agree upon. Now, many philosophers argue that there is no such ethics, okay? But it can be there to, or you can say common ethics have to be very general to avoid disagreement. Now, you can say, do we have the same ethics in the world? Do we have the same ethics in US and India? Does everyone in your family share the same ethics? Okay. So, uh, just to avoid disagreement, we can have this where majority of the people agree. For example, you can say murdering people for the sake of murder is wrong. Now, this is something, an ethical statement which we say, and this majority of the people are going to agree. But how this would change in the context of self-defense? Will you say murdering people for the sake of murder is wrong at that time? So this is something, and that is why many philosophers say that there is no such ethics, but this is common ethics, we can say. Now see, we are constantly faced with making choices. Some of these will be trivial, such as what outfit to wear today, or some will be much more serious issues, even involving life and death. We offer that all decisions we make are fundamental to our character and that they will shape the kind of people we become. And that is why decisions have to be made carefully and with ethics in mind. While there are not usually simple answers to our questions and decision making, this does not mean that there is no answer or that ethics is of no value. In these cases, ethics takes more time, more reflection, more critical thinking, and more discussion with others, especially with the people you admire. Sometimes, in spite of all our efforts to clarify an issue in which laws, policies, or guidelines are unclear, we may still not know what to make of a situation. In this case, and if an urgent decision has to be made, we can encourage our students to do their best. As long as we do that, all we can be charged with is a mistake or an error of judgment. Ethics cannot make us infallible, but it can sensitize us to how commonly we are confronted by ethical issues. So we recognize them more readily and think about them more honestly. In the long run, we will become better people as a result. Many times, ethics and ethical decision making seems out of the scope of a person's day-to-day life. But the reality is that seemingly insignificant decisions can have larger ethical implications. Take, for example, what we choose to eat. This simple decision can have complex ethical consequences, leading to environmental and economic sustainability as well as impact to our health. Okay? I hope things are clear to you. Now, as we have discussed about professional ethics, two more concepts came along with it, and they are code of ethics and code of conduct. Now, these two statements, or you can say code of ethics and code of conduct, are often mistakenly used interchangeably. They are in fact two unique documents. Code of ethics, which governs decision making, and code of conduct, which governs actions, basically represent two common ways that companies self-regulate. They are often associated with large companies and provide direction to employees and establish a public image of good behavior, both of which benefits businesses of any size. However, any company, large or small, public or private, will benefit from having a set of documented rules in place, where employees and other stakeholders can reference to ensure they are performing in their positions as expected by the company. Now you will see, as per the current guidelines of NAC for educational institutions also, there has to be a code of conduct to be maintained. I know Negi madam would agree with that. Then, code of ethics, sometimes referred to as a value statement, is it behaves like the company's constitution, wherein there are general principles to help guide employee behavior. This document basically outlines a set of principles that affect decision making. For example, if an organization is committed to protecting the environment and being green, the code of ethics will state that there is an expectation for an employee faced with a problem to choose the most green solution. It works on the basis of treat others as you would like to be treated. So when faced with ethical dilemmas or debatable situations, what is articulated in the code of ethics will help you in decision making. Now, on the contrary, what is code of conduct? The code of conduct actually provides material to the code of ethics. Code of conduct applies the code of ethics to post relevant situations. For example, let's say a particular rule in the code of ethics might state that all employees will obey the law. A code of conduct might list several specific laws relevant to different areas of organizational operations or industry that employees need to obey. So, the code of conduct outlines specific behaviors that are required or prohibited as a condition of ongoing employment. It might forbid sexual harassment, racial intimidation, or viewing an inappropriate or unauthorized content on company computers. Codes, along with other measures, have helped some companies dig themselves out of scandals and also have helped many companies build a healthier workplace climate and reputation. An example of ethical dilemma that employees regularly come face to face with is gift giving and accepting. This can sometimes be a tricky situation to navigate because in some cultures, small gifts are tokens of respect and gratitude. Acceptance of large gifts may produce the appearance of an improper relationship between the company and the recipient, and vice versa. Now here, you need to work with the management while consulting the code to come to a generally accepted resolution. Now you'll find that both these codes are similar, code of ethics and code of conduct, as they are used in an attempt to encourage specific forms of behavior by employees. Ethics guidelines attempt to provide guidance about values and choices to influence decision making. Conduct regulations assert that some specific actions are appropriate, others inappropriate. In both cases, it's the organization's desire to obtain a healthy range of acceptable behaviors from employees. Now, as there are similarities, there are differences also. Both are used in an attempt to regulate behavior in very different ways. Ethical standards generally are wide-ranging and non-specific, designed to provide a set of values or decision-making approaches that actually enable employees to make independent judgments about the most appropriate course of action. Conduct standards generally require little judgment. You obey or incur a penalty, and the code provides a fairly clear set of expectations about which actions are required, which are acceptable, which are prohibited. Bigger organizations sometimes have both codes in separate formats, or they sometimes combine into one general ethics document that blends principles for the right action with a list of actions that are required or forbidden. Now, many smaller businesses can survive without a formal code in either sense. For example, if a business has less than 10 employees or at the most 10 employees, generally everyone is talking with each other and interacting with each other every day. So communicating appropriate behavior is much easier. However, as these businesses grow, their employee numbers, ethical hazards and risk also increases. So, having these documents can help shape cultural expectations about behavior and can also serve as a solid marketing tool for potential business partners or clients. See, either way, it's critical that these documents are treated consistently in every instance of wrongdoing. The code needs to apply to every employee from the ground up, and no matter how small the violation, appropriate discipline needs to take place. For example, if your code stipulates that theft of company property is prohibited, and if you find an employee takes home one pack of Eucalyptus box from the supply inventory, now that's a theft and so should be treated as such because you have stated that the theft of company property is prohibited. So these documents help employees understand how they can feel good about being contributing members to the company's future success. Remember, an organization's culture differs from industry to industry, and there is no one size fit solution for building and adopting a strong organizational culture. Tools to help manage the expectations of employees and gather information on actions that challenge the code will help to build and strengthen the internal culture. So this is what about code of conduct and code of ethics is. Now we move on to the last aspect of our unit, and that is human rights. So this everyone is aware about, okay? Right from our school age, we are learning civics and we are aware about these particular concepts, but still, as we have included in a syllabus, we'll just quickly go through it. Now, in order to live with dignity, certain basic rights and freedoms are necessary, which all human beings are entitled to. And these basic rights are called human rights. Human rights demand recognition and respect for the inherent dignity to ensure that everyone is protected against abuses which undermine their dignity and give the opportunities they need to realize their full potential free from discrimination. Now remember, these human rights belong to everyone, everywhere, regardless of nationality, sexuality, gender, race, religion, or age. They are fundamental to the stability and development of countries all around the world. Great emphasis has been placed on international conventions and their implementation in order to ensure adherence to a universal standard of acceptability. With the advent of globalization and the introduction of new technology, these principles gain importance not only in protecting human beings from the ill effects of change, but also in ensuring that all are allowed a share of the benefits. So, which are the human rights? These are the fundamental human rights. You are able to see it on the screen. The right to life, right to dignity of persons, right to freedom of speech, right to freedom of association, the right to fair hearing, right to freedom of movement, right from freedom of discrimination, the right to personal liberty, right to vote and be voted for during an election, right to private family life, right to ownership of properties. Now see, here if time permits and students are interested in this area, you can individually explain those rights by taking more examples here. Okay. Now here I would like to address to one more issue related to this, and that is human right abuse. Now, human right abuse occurs when individuals are denied their fundamental rights as are listed above. Human rights abuse is a social problem which can make people rebellious against constituted authorities. So, which are the ways of preventing human rights abuse? Respect for and obedience to the law of the land, educating citizens on their rights, imposing sanctions on those who abuse other people's rights, equality before the law, collectively fighting human rights abusers, activities of the human rights organization. Now, just as we have addressed this issue, there are certain limitations also to these human rights. For example, if there is a civil unrest or whenever there is a riot or crisis, there will not be freedom of movement. Some people's movement can be limited if they have a case in the court of law. A citizen who is infected with deadly diseases may be isolated for treatment in order not to infect other people, thereby denying him or her freedom of movement. A person's land and property can be destroyed if built on the wrong place or if government wants to make some construction of roads or other project that will be useful for the public. A person who is found guilty of a murder case can lose his or her right to life. So, we know about the rights, but these are some of the limitations. So, this is all about human rights, I have to say. And so, we come to the concluding part of our session by saying the famous quotes of these two philosophers. As Aristotle has said, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. And in the words of C.S. Lewis, education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make a man more clever devil. These pearls of wisdom not only highlight the importance of morals and ethics, but also portray that an individual who lacks moral and ethics is like a devil in the guise of human. Both morals and ethics are the foundation stones for a healthy and peaceful society that lead to a peaceful and prosperous country and finally make our world a better place to live in. I end my session here. Thank you all for a patient listening. Please forgive me for my ignorance, if any. Thank you. Eva, madam?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think, ma'am, there is a question by Nilima, ma'am. It's a very good
Yeah.
question, actually. So she
Yeah.
says that in the movie Three Idiots, the hero Amir Khan steals the exam question paper for his friend. How would you explain this as ethical, unethical, or moral or immoral?
I think Prabhu madam would better answer it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, see, though it is given in the movie, okay, but it is unethical if you talk about from the ethics point of view, and if we see it in that particular part, then it is unethical to steal a question paper. That is not morally right. Whatever you know, or what you could have taught your friend or something like that, and that way you could have done. But stealing is something which is wrong. But in that situation of that particular movie, it seems okay for us, and we are always watching it very nicely. But there are some nice things also which have been told in that movie. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I do understand, but these are the lot of
Yes.
times these questions in life are the ones which are the gray areas. You really don't
Yes.
know
Yes.
whether you got to be empathy, you got to show empathy, you got to be compassionate, and they become more prominent as you grow, in age. When you're
Very true.
small,
Very true.
when you are younger, you are known. Your mother has told you do this. But
Yes.
as we
Yes.
grow, our
Yeah.
transformation and
Yes.
transitions regarding these ethics and all, really become we
Yeah, yeah.
need
Very
a
true.
lot of
I agree.
wisdom. We need a lot of wisdom, or a lot of somebody mentor, or someone who can explain this to us, which it has to our intellect, our heart, and everything. It has to both ways.
Yes,
So
yes.
yes,
I agree.
I
And
think it
that's
was
an ethical
wonderful
dilemma,
session.
basically. It's an ethical dilemma here, that whether we
Yes,
should use soda
lot of
things.
times we find a
Yeah,
lot of gray areas in life as we
yeah,
grow up. It
yes,
is simple for us to tell the students, but
yes,
when we introspect it as we grow in life, it is a little bit, what would you say? You can't be right. Sometimes you don't know whether you're telling the child the right thing, because
yes,
yeah, but
yes,
yes,
very true.
universal truths and values are there, and I always
Yes,
remember that movie, one which said ijazat or something. जो
yes.
सही है और जो सच है वो
वो
करो,
सही है,
you
सच है.
know,
Yes,
जो सही है और सच है. So
very
that
true.
is the byline. I find it very profound, when I.
Yeah, 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 very true, very true.
Thank you so much. It was very exhaustive. At the end, my mind
Yeah,
was
I can understand.
totally, but
It was
very well,
exhausting.
very well constructed, Swati. Very nice, very nice.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Yeah.
thank you. Oh, Dipti madam has said, if a hungry person steals a piece of bread, is he ethically and morally wrong for him to think of his survival at that moment? We are not talking about a habit forming thing here. Yeah, yes, yes. He would naturally think about his survival, and that time we will say that yes, it is ethical. And that's an ethical dilemma. Yes, Dipti madam, yes. Yes. I think Rima madam, yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, you can take over the session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. It was a very interactive, well elaborated, well executed session, in fact. Very
Thank
detailed
you.
one. Just
Thank
like
you.
Nilema ma'am shared one of her experience, I remember that when the movie Guzarish was released, we
Ah,
had this debate in the classroom, should euthanasia be allowed? Because,
ah,
killing oneself, and nowadays also, if you see, our parents don't agree to suicide and all those things. Anyways,
yes,
that is a
yes.
different topic. But I'm sure
Yeah,
all the participants, all the faculties, in fact, in this group, at some level or the other, we try to impart ethical values, morals, norms, and all these things in our students. Because we all want them to, think rationally, to have social integrity when they join offices, and when they start working in the organization. So, with this, I would like to end the session. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for being interactive. Dear participants, as we come to an end of this 5 days FDP on yoga and well-being, on behalf of the principal, CEO, and the management, I take this honor to extend my gratitude towards all the speakers, Rao sir, Dr. Ashok sir, Medha madam, Swati ma'am. I would also like to thank all the participants for actively participating in the sessions and making it interactive and interesting. I believe that though we are physically far, but events and programs like this help us stay connected always. Dear participants, yesterday Rai sir has shared a link in the group regarding the yoga session. So whoever is interested, kindly fill in the form. And the feedback form for the 5 days FDP will be shared in the group right now. So requesting all of you to kindly fill in the feedback form as well. Thank you, everyone. It was just great having you. I'm sharing an Elvis Presley quote with you so that I don't bore you much. Anyways, have a good weekend, and stay home, stay safe.
thank you.
Thank you.